Famed talk show host Jerry Springer died on April 26, 2023, after a brief battle with cancer. Springer's family confirmed the loss through a spokesperson who said, quote, "Jerry's ability to connect with people was at the heart of his success in everything he tried." Springer will be remembered for his contributions to television and pop culture, though he'll remain a controversial one. His talk show was incredibly successful and ran for decades. Yet there are many, including Springer himself, who felt it wasn't always a positive influence. Join us as Facts First presents Jerry Springer is dead, and now his family confirms the truth. Immediately after the news of Springer's passing went public, outpourings of affection, love, and remembrance began appearing online. Comedian Lonnie Love shared a picture of the two and talked in a post about how much she loved his authenticity and uniqueness. Fans began posting tributes expressing how much they loved Jerry and his work and how he was one of a kind. Pre-show career. Before becoming the iconic talk show host of The Jerry Springer Show, Jerry had a successful and diverse career that spanned several decades and industries. Springer was born in London, England in 1944 and grew up in New York City. He attended Northwestern University, where he earned a degree in political science. He then went to law school at Northwestern. After graduating, he worked briefly as a lawyer before transitioning to politics. He worked on Robert F. Kennedy's presidential campaign in 1968 and later served as a member of the Cincinnati City Council from 1971 to 74. In 1977, he was elected as the mayor of Cincinnati, becoming the youngest person to hold the position at age 33. But his tenure as mayor was short-lived and was mired in controversy. One of the most significant occurred in 1974 when Springer was involved in a scandal that involved hiring a sex worker. Technically, the incident occurred before he became mayor while he was a city councilman, but it became public knowledge during his tenure as mayor. The scandal caused a public outcry, and many residents of Cincinnati demanded that Jerry resign from office. In the face of mounting pressure, Springer ultimately decided that his personal life was not relevant to his ability to govern. While mayor, he was also criticized for his handling of the city's budget and his approach to economic development. His efforts to attract business to Cincinnati were seen as too aggressive by some, and his proposal to build a new sports stadium was met with resistance. But Springer remained committed to his vision for Cincinnati and continued to advocate for the city's interests even after leaving office. He then began a career in television journalism, working as a reporter and anchor for several news stations across the country. He eventually landed a job as a commentator for the NBC show The Phil Donahue Show, where he gained a reputation for his outspoken and confrontational style. The show. Jerry will be most remembered as host of the legendary show, The Jerry Springer Show. It debuted in 1991 and soon became a huge hit. It became known for its outrageous and controversial content, featuring guests with shocking and salacious stories. It was such a big component of American pop culture, it lasted for 27 seasons. Over that time, it tackled many issues that weren't otherwise being seen on TV. This was sometimes a good thing and sometimes not. Let's look at a few of the most famous and infamous moments. I Married a Horse. In one of the show's most bizarre and controversial episodes, a guest named Amy claimed to have married a horse. The segment was widely criticized for its exploitative nature and for potentially promoting bestiality. Secret Lives Revealed. This episode featured a man named Steve, who revealed to his girlfriend and the audience he was actually a woman. The episode was groundbreaking in its representation of transgender people and helped raise awareness of gender identity issues. I'm a man, but I'm pregnant. In another groundbreaking episode, a transgender man named Thomas claimed to be pregnant, leading to a heated debate about the definition of gender and sexuality. Stripper Wars. This episode featured a group of strippers who competed for the title of Best Stripper, leading to a physical altercation and a chaotic and violent scene on stage. My Daughter is a Porn Star. In this controversial episode, a father confronted his daughter, who is a porn star, about her career choice. The segment was criticized for its potential exploitation of the daughter's personal life and the sensitive issue of sex work. Klan We Talk. In this highly controversial episode, members of the Ku Klux Klan were invited to the show to discuss their views and engage in a debate with their opponents. The episode was criticized for providing a platform for hate speech and promoting racism. I Slept with My Sister's Fiancé. This episode featured a woman who claimed to have slept with her sister's fiancé, leading to a heated confrontation on stage and a dramatic reveal of the truth. While some of these moments may have been criticized for their exploitative or controversial content, they also helped make The Jerry Springer Show one of the most popular and talked about shows on television. Despite ending its original run in 2018, the show's impact on pop culture and its place in the history of television remains significant. Jerry's opinion. While many people look back fondly on the show, it seems Jerry agreed more with its critics. In interviews later in life, he revealed his true feelings about it, and they weren't always glowing. He was interviewed by The Independent and told them, quote, "I never took myself seriously. I never thought of myself as a talk show host. It was just a job." He also appeared on the Behind the Velvet Rope podcast in 2022 and flat out apologized for the show. He told host David Yontef that he had ruined the culture and he hoped hell wasn't too hot because his fair skin burns easily. Obviously, Springer was being tongue-in-cheek, but at the same time, it appears he was able to look back on his work with a little bit of distance and wonder about its negative effects on society. And yet there were also times over the years when Jerry defended the show. Despite referring to it as silly and a circus, he would often emphasize that his show was purely for entertainment. He'd say he never wanted to pretend it was anything else. He even stated the show was never about him, but rather about the guests who came on to share their stories. He was also on record in agreement with those who say the show gave a voice to people who might otherwise have been overlooked in society and allowed them to share their stories with a wider audience. In an interview with The Guardian, Springer said he was never trying to justify it as high art, and at the same time he felt that the show was the right thing to do. Said Springer, quote, "We gave people a chance to have their say, and the truth is, I kind of liked it." So while Springer acknowledged the flaws of his show, he always maintained a sense of humor about it and never took it too seriously. Jerry's lawsuit. Most of the repercussions from the show were felt on society as a whole, but there was one incident where Springer and the show were sued for enabling a murder. In 2000, an episode aired that featured a man named Ralph Panitz and his former wife, Nancy Campbell Panitz. On the show, it was revealed that Ralph had secretly gotten married to another woman during their split, despite the fact that Ralph and Nancy still lived together. The love triangle made for a controversial and entertaining episode, but tragically, Ralph became so upset after the episode aired and was angry about having to move his ex-wife's belonging out of their home, he strangled and beat her to death. He was later convicted of second-degree murder and is in jail for life. But her sons later brought suit against Jerry and the show, claiming they were deceptive about the nature of the episode when they brought Ralph and Nancy on. Apparently, Nancy thought she was there for a reconciliation, but was blindsided. The suit claimed that the show enabled a, quote, mood that led to murder. But it's unknown how the courts would have ruled because the two sons dropped the suit and waived claims against the show. The show did likewise as it was preparing a countersuit against the family for malicious prosecution. Now it's time to hear from you. How will you remember Jerry Springer? Let us know in the comments section below.